Oh my, it's finished. Oh wow. I can't believe how well it's come out. I mean, I can because I designed it, but you know. Oh my God, it's so good. Our internal pocket. Our magnets are on. The inside. Look at that. Look how much space is in there. Like, it's fantastic. Oh my goodness. The Billy 50 cartoon bag. If you want to see how I made this, stick around. Okay, cutting the pattern for this bag is pretty simple, but it's always but. This white panel here goes all the way through underneath this. So it looks like that. So that's the front. So this piece, the front piece, you're going to cut in white. And then we're going to cut the back in black. But as you can see, when we turn the bag over, see the shape? So the back needs to be cut with the right side of the fabric facing up and the pattern facing down. Okay, so we're cutting out the white on the front this way, and then we're going to turn our pattern over. We're going to get our fabric right side up, and we're going to do that, and we're going to cut our back piece. Now I'm cutting, so I've done my outer fabric, my white and my black. Now I'm doing some lining. So I've just got the right sides together, and I'm just going to cut around there. So one for the front and one for the back. That's for the inside. And we're ready to begin. I have my pattern pieces and lining and everything all cut out. We are going to need some binding. Just your regular, this is just a cotton binding that's folded over. Ooh, actually this, there you go. It's a cotton binding that's folded over. I will iron that in half again to put around all of my pieces. So we'll pop that out of the way. I'm going to need about 7 meters of that. You can make your own. Going to need a 50 centimeter zip. I'm going to need a 20 centimeter zip, which is for the internal pocket. I'm going to need a zip head, a zipper pull, zip head, whatever you call them. And then I'm going to need, for the actual strap of the bag, I'm going to need a D-ring, and I'm going to need a strap adjuster. So I'm going to use one of these birch strap adjusters. This one fits 38 millimeter. There's 2 in the packet. I got it from Spotlight in Australia. We're just going to take out one. I'm going to need 2 little magnetic clips, which will keep my bag shut. So that's 1 and 2. And for decoration, I'm going to need a couple of buttons. So any sort of buttons. I'm going to go with these ones because they kind of have that cartoony look about them. That's my cat in the background, if you can hear any noise. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? So, webbing, 2 meters at least. Emmy likes it. Hi.
The first thing I'll be doing is preparing my front and back panels. So this is going to be my front panel. This pocket and accent piece will be sewn over the top once it's got its binding on. And then our zipper panel for our little internal zipper pocket is going to be just there. But in the meantime,
I need to put my interfacing on.
This one here is quite
Thick and stiff.
It's the only one I had in the cupboard, that's why I'm using it. Just be careful when you put it on to make sure you put it on the right side. So we want the top corner
Here
to be, just so you can see, I'm going to do this. We want that to be the square corner at the top there. This is the right side of our fabric. So on the wrong side of our fabric, we're going to just iron that on there. Is any of this making sense? I don't feel like I'm making sense. Let's just begin. Front panel. Make sure your corner is at the top here, fabric facing up, and we're going to attach our interfacing on the bottom with an iron. That's the front. Now the back. I want to put the right side of the fabric face down, still with my little corner at the top. And I want to iron that one onto there like that.
Now when we're putting things together,
that's the back of the bag.
I've just put a pin in there just so you can see that
That's the right side of the fabric. So that's the back of the bag, and this is going to be the front of the bag. In amongst there, we're going to have our lining. Our other lining face down, and this will be
that way. So that's our sandwich, our bag sandwich.
So we'll take our front. Now, these pieces, this is a decorative piece that goes on like this. This one just sits over the top, but is stitched down completely. And then we're going to actually attach the strap of the bag here, the front strap of the bag, and we're going to cover that up by doing this. So let's iron out some binding. These are the pieces we're working on right now. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And we're going to start with this piece right here. We're going to be placing our binding over the top, like that, across the edge, and we are going to just stitch down there
and attach it.
Now, if you're a confident sewer, you can literally just freestyle it like that.
If you've got a binding attachment on your sewing machine,
You can go ahead and use that. But I'm going to show a little trick for those of you who are not confident in doing any of this. So I'm just going to measure that out, and then I'm just going to snip that off there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it into place. Make sure it's sitting all the way up in there on the fold. And then I'm going to baste that on. So I'm just going to go from the back to the front. It's only a very, very quick baste. I'm just going to pop that through and go all the way to the end, and that's going to hold it in place for me so I don't have to stress that I'm getting both sides of the binding. You still have to be careful and you still have to check it, but it just makes the process a lot easier. Okay, so we've got our binding basted on. It doesn't have to look pretty because it's coming off again, but this is what we've got. So now I'm going to take this to the machine, and with a top stitch, so a longer stitch, I'm going to stitch from here all the way across, and I'm going to use black cotton. Now you can see I've got that stitched on there, so now I can just take out that basting and we're all good. So front and back. So now in line there, I'm just going to cut that, and I'm just going to cut that. And there's our first piece done. Now, our next piece, we're going to sit this here, and we are going to do the left hand side. We're going to put a piece along here like that. Okay, so we're going to tuck our edge in there, and we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to base stitch that on. Now I know there's a lot of fiddly bits with this, but because it is a cartoon 2D look, the crisper you get everything, the better the result is going to be. So let's baste this on. Remember to leave, we need to leave this side open because that's where we're going to attach a strap later. Now you'll see I've got that basted on. So I'm going to take that over to the machine, and I'm going to stitch straight down here. And now we have that piece on. I'm just going to chop off the top here and the bottom. Okay, that piece is now ready, and I still have that side open. I'm going to line this up with the edge. Okay, put it in the right place. And now I'm going to just top stitch again all the way down here. And now you'll see I have two beautiful lines of stitching all the way down there. Okay, I'm just going to put a clip on here because this is a flappy piece, it's just sticking open. I'm just going to put a clip there just to hold it in place for now. And now we're going to work out where we want our internal zipper pocket. All right, I want this to sit about there, which will be with the teeth in between 7 and 8 centimeters. And then I want to center that so there's about 2 centimeters on each side. Now I'm going to take my chalk and I'm going to rule a line across here, and then I'm going to measure down 1/2 inch, one and a half centimeters, and I'm going to rule another line, and this is where I'm going to place. Then I'm going to measure in a centimeter here and a centimeter here. Okay, So that is where we are going to put our zipper. Before you do anything else, you need to put your zipper pull on. Zipper pull check, zipper pull check. Don't forget to put your zipper pull on. I have my zipper pocket. If you've cut yours on the fold, it'll belong like this, and the area for your zip will be at the top. If not, you can cut 2 separate pieces and then just sew the bottom closed later on. So I've got this area marked, that was on the pattern. I'm going to put this over the top, this little rectangle part over the top, and I'm going to stitch around there. Okay, I'm going to cut this open in the middle. Cut down. I'm going to put a snip right into the corners and not cut our stitches. I'm going to cut back this way. Same thing. And then we are going to fold all of this through to the other side. Now, because it's got this interfacing on it, it might be a little bit tricky, but persevere, press it down, and just get your iron. Get your iron out. Press it down with your fingers. Now we have that sitting in there all nice and flat. We can turn it over. We can pop our zip underneath there. If you need to use some double-sided sticky tape, you can do that. I can just hold it, I think. And once that's in there like that, I'm going to stitch all the way around to secure that zip in place. We have all that secured in there now. All we have to do now is flip it over. I'm going to fold this bottom half up, and then I'm going to stitch up, around and down just to close that pocket over. Cut off any threads. Our pocket all stitched up. So now when we open this,
We have our internal pocket. Easy peasy.
okay. Now I can just give that a wash and remove.
The next thing we're going to be doing is
We're going to be working on the lid and the straps.
Let me know in the comments what colour you're making yours and who you're making it for.
So the way I'm figuring this out is
I'm placing my straps
5 centimeters from the edge, then there's 5 centimeters, and then there's 5 centimeters.
on either side.
Okay? I'm doing that just to figure out where I want these buttons. Now these buttons are just for show, so you can just glue them on later, but I want to sew them on just so they're extra secure. Now obviously we're only going to sew them to the top strap, and we've got our right sides facing out for this. Even underneath, that's a right side because it's something that we will see
When we pick this up.
Okay, so just going to clip that there just to hold it for the minute. Now I want this to sit in the middle of this section, so I'm going to put it here, and I am going to mark that as the position that I want my button to go on. And then underneath, I'm going to insert my magnet on my strap only, not this part of the body, just my strap. And that'll be in the center of where that would line up with. So figure that out and then sew your button on, or glue your button on into the top piece of the strap only. Try and get them to line up.
And then meet me back here. I have
Sewn my buttons on, and I have installed 1/2 of my magnet clip. So you can see this strap is
2 pieces. So now when I turn my strap over, it's got that. And when I turn it this way,
it's got that. So I've done that for both straps. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my binding. So I'm going to start just here,
just a little bit off,
because there will be a piece later that goes across this way. So I'm going to put the binding on around here. It's going to go all the way around like this, all the way around. It's going to go all the way around until this part here. So we're just going to go to the top of that curve and we'll end there.
Okay, so let's
Baste that on if you don't have a guide for your edging. Go ahead and baste it on. If not, and you want to wing it, go for it. But I'll meet you back here once that has been basted. And now I've got those basted on, so I am just going to go around and I'm going to stitch
all the way around.
All right, so that's them done. And you'll see that that looks awesome on the front and the back. So now I'm just going to trim that straight off. That one as well. Because when they go on here, I'll just get those threads off. When these go on here later, a piece of this will go over the top like that, and the top will be all finished off and covered up. That might be a little cat hand that you can see there. Now, next step, we need to attach the straps to the lid. So we're going to take away the bottom piece and we're going to position these, and there's going to be about 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters and 5 centimeters. Let's have a look. So that one can go over just a little bit. This one can come over a bit more. Okay, so that's roughly where they're going to be positioned. It's a pussycat. Hey, Emmy. So we are going to just clip that on there and there. And I am going to stitch from here on the outside here down there, and I'm going to stop just before, oh, maybe an inch. So maybe, let's see, I reckon we need to stop about 3 centimeters beforehand. What is that, an inch? Yeah, an inch beforehand. All right, so we're going to sew down here and stop, here, around there and stop, here, stop, here, stop. So that's going to attach this to the lid, and try and stop them all in the same spot. So you will have this little flappy bit left over, but you want to try and make it so they both lift up to the same amount. Not that they'll be lifted up, but you know what I mean. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. I was just thinking, for those of you that are nervous, just get a piece of double-sided tape, stick it on here, straight down the middle. And that will hold it in place for you while you stitch. So now you will see I have, on this completed one, a double row of stitching, and it stops just down the bottom there. And there we are. And you can see that we've got that double row of stitching down the front, and they're both connected to there now. Okay, so now I'm going to put my other piece underneath like that. And now I'm going to put binding from here all the way around. So I'm just going to finish off this lid, and I'm going to stop just when it gets back up to that straight edge there. I'll base that on for you now, and I'll show you before I stitch it. I have that all clipped on, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch that all the way around there. So we've got that done as well. Just going to snip that off there. Cut off his little bits. All right, and that is the lid done. So let's take our front panel. Now, doesn't it look super cute? Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, now when we're putting this one on here, we want to line up the top, but we also want to line up just on this side. If you can see, I want it to sit a little bit hanging over, just like that. So from the other side, you'll see that it's sticking out just a little bit. But I want it to be all square, like it's still got to meet up on the corners, because we have to put our binding around the edge. Okay, but this is what it's going to look like, and so far everything is going well. So let's move on to the gusset. So now we're going to make our zipper sandwich and start putting it all together. So we've got our lining piece face up, zipper face up, and then an outer piece face down. We're just going to flip this all together, and then we're going to stitch along here all the way along, stitch all the way along, and then we're going to open it out and we're going to fold this under and we're going to top stitch. So let's just get that part done first. Now we're going to open it up, fold side, so we've got, and I'm going to top stitch. And now we're going to make the same sandwich on the other side. So lining face up, zipper face up, and outer panel face down. That goes that way. And again, I'm going to stitch along, open this all out, and then top stitch. Wait. Okay, there. We now have that all together. I can see it. There we go. So that's all together. Now, big warning before you do anything else. Zipper pull check, zipper pull check, zipper pull check. We need to put our zipper pulls on. So let's do that. It's my special little contraption. Okay, we've got the zipper pull on. I'm going to put my lining down, and then I'm going to put this on, line it up in the center. Then I'm going to put this piece, my top piece, face down, and I'm going to stitch across. Now I have got a little bit extra because of the size of the zip that I've used. So if you do have any extra, let's get this sewn on and then we'll trim down these sides. Okay. So that's stitched across. So now when we open this up, we've got our lining facing out and right sides together. Okay, so that's exactly how it should look. Okay, so that's that. Looking good. Now we can top stitch that just straight across there. And then I'm going to just rule a line and along here and just trim off that excess before we do the other side. All right, now we've got our gusset all matching. So now what we're going to do is we're going to match up our sewing lines. So here and here. And I'm just going to put a mark on this side of the fabric so I know where that is exactly. And then pick up this end. I'm going to pick up this end and I'm going to match them in the middle. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to twist it around like that. So those two sides face each other as well. So there'll be a little bit of a kink there. But then when we open the whole thing up, you'll see that it's all matching. Our ends are matching. Okay, so you can go ahead and stitch those. Remember, join that line with that line, stitch them, and then you can top stitch. Okay, our gusset is done. Now, where the lining is on the bottom part of the gusset, so there's the top part, I just ran a small line of stitching, of basting stitch, right on the very edge, just to hold it together so it doesn't slip around too much when I'm trying to sew it in. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, I've got my little strap connector piece. I've just ruled a line down the center, and now I'm just going to fold the sides into that center point and iron it flush. Okay, now that should fit through our strap connector. Okay, so now I'm just going to tuck those edges under. I'm actually going to place that there so it's 1 inch from the top and 2 inches from the side. And now I'm just going to stitch around there in a square and then make it a cross. Okay, I've got my strap connector on. Okay, Now we're taking our lining piece. Remember, we know which way is up because of our top right hand corner. And we're just going to put that in place. No ugly stitching coming through this way because it's all under there. All right, so I've got that on. We're going to get our piece of strap and we are going to just position it like that. So it's underneath there, so we don't want to be able to see this part. Now remember, along this edge there's going to be a binding. So I want to position this in the middle of where that's going to be, and that'll be about there. Okay, I'm just going to put a pin so I know that's where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little box here, and then I am going to stitch straight across here like that. And now cut these little threads off. You'll see that I have my double row of stitching along here. You can actually see on the black. Double row of stitching, and it matches my double row of stitching along here. All right, so now that is all in place. Just cut off any threads that I've got here. Even though you don't see it, you want it to look tidy. Well, as tidy as can be. Okay, that's that done. Now we are going to get the back of our lining piece, this one, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get a little bit of sticky, double-sided sticky, and we're going to stick that on as well. Now we're going to start joining all our pieces together. So we have to get our back piece with the lining face up, and we're going to get our gusset. You can figure out which way you want your zipper on, but I want an opening from this side, so I'm going to have an opening from my corner side. On the pattern piece, you'll see that there was 2 markings. So that will be this part of the gusset and this part where our top stitching is. So I'm just going to put them on, there. Now we are doing this because it's got binding. We're doing it so our outsides, both our outsides, are facing out. All right, so we're going to have the raw edge, but that's going to be covered up by our binding. And if you've joined everything up correctly, we shouldn't have too much of an issue here. All right, so just continue and put all those clips on. Okay, once you've got that all clipped on all the way around our back panel, you can put it through the machine and try and have it this way. It'll just help. It'll be easier to sew. And then stitch all the way around and back to the start. And then I'll see you here. we have that stitched on now. As you can see, all the way around. Stunning, beautiful, whatever you want to call it. So now let's line up our corners, and we are going to put this side on. So maybe we'll do it this way around. Okay. Gonna match up where all my bits and pieces are. That one's on as well, so we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to stitch all the way around. Back to the start. Now we've got both sides sewn on. Let's have a look. We open it up. There we go. Inside of our bag. We're looking good. All right. We are nearly done. Before we attach the binding to the outer side, we're just going to put this in place. So what I want is for the top to be flush. So we want the top to be flush. But from the side here, I want it to sit up over just that much. Can you see there? All right, so it's a little bit over there. So when I put my binding on here, you'll see this is going to sit under there. So it'll look like that. Okay, so you'll see that this is almost lined up, but not quite. And that one's a little bit over. All right, so we're going to clip this on at the top. Now what's going to happen later is I'm going to have a piece going around, so on the actual body of the bag, like this, and it's going to stop here. Okay, and then from the outside of the bag, this will then continue all the way along here. So it sounds messy, but it's actually not. So I've got that pinned on now, just like that. So now I'll just take this across to the machine, and I'm just going to stitch straight across here to hold that on. Then we're going to come back and we're going to insert the bottom of our magnets. Perfect. So now you'll see that we've got that on there. Now you can just see the row of stitching along here, but that's okay, because when we put our final row of binding on, and we stitch through there, oops, and we stitch through there, that will then be covered up on the inside. Okay, now the reason we didn't put the magnets on before was because of this lid and not knowing exactly how it was going to sit when it was finished. So what we've got to do is just undo a couple of stitches here, just enough to put the magnet up inside there, and then we can restitch that. Now I'm just going to separate the lining because I don't want the lining and I don't want the pocket to get in the way. So I'm going to stick this part of the magnet on here, like that. And then I'm going to put this around the right way and I'm going to push just a little bit. And you'll see that I get 2 little marks. Oh, I better use a pencil, just in case. Okay, so stand it up, do that. Okay, that's where that's going to go. Now I can just get my little knife. I'm going to make a very, very small hole. Now don't push too hard because you don't want to rip everything. I'm going to stick that through there. And then I'm going to put my backing on. And then I'm just going to push all those pieces back together with that sticky tape there. And there we go. Magnet is working. Good. All right, now this one. Again, I'm just going to undo a few stitches here. Separate the lining. Just put my hand under there. Make a small hole. Oh, I don't think I made that hole big enough. Oh, there we go. Put the backing on. Squash it down. Now squish everything back together. Magnet goes together. All right, everything's looking good. All right, we're all done. So you can just stitch back over this little part here quickly again. Now I've done that, and this is the last thing we need to do. Oh, no, it's not, because we're going to have to connect the strap later. But for now, our magnets are on. So we're just doing a safety. We're just doing a bit of a... Is that stuck on there okay? Yeah? All right. Thank you. Yes, I've done my job properly. Thank you. Move on to the next one. Yep, that one's, yeah. Thank you, supervisor. Now you can begin to see how this effect works. It's not a small bag, but it looks so funny from the front. I love it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start with this, our binding. And we're going to begin on the front, and we are going to fold the edge of our binding over to make a nice smooth edge. And then we are going to butt it up against there as high as we can, and that's where we're going to be starting. And that is going to go all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way up to here. And then I'm going to, now if you don't know how to miter a corner, you can just cut it off and then start again and then go down and end up here. All right, so that's, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing for the back. But I think the easiest way to do it is to stitch this on by hand first. So let's just go around, baste it on. Believe me, you'll get a better finish if you baste this on first. Okay, get stitching. Okay, here we are. So we've got our lid, we've got our internal pocket, our magnets are on. The inside, look at that. Look how much space is in there. Like, it's fantastic. It's nice and wide. Here's the back. Now, last thing I have to do is just connect this strap. So let's do that.
Another quirky project by Billy 50 Designs.
And there we have it, folks. The Billy 50 cartoon 2D bag. Like, could it get any better? If you're not already on Facebook on the Billy 50 sewing group, go there now and join up. And if you want this pattern, the pattern link is in the description, or you can go to billy50.com.au and you'll find it there. See you next time.
This is our quality control manager. Oh, her name's Emmy. And she's trying to get my microphone.
Emmy, don't touch. What are you doing?
I'm working here. Hello. I'm trying to do some stuff. Our magnets are on.
So are we just doing a
Safety. We're just doing a bit of a. Is that stuck on there? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yes, I've done my job properly. Thank you. Move on to the next one. Yep, that one's, yeah. Thank you, supervisor. What are you doing?
Make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this page and hit the little bell so you'll be notified every time a new video is released.